In 2003, a 19-year-old Swedish hacker was about to break the entertainment industry's grip on content forever. His weapon wasn't sophisticated malware or government backing. It was a bedroom server and an unshakable belief that information wants to be free. Within 3 years, his creation would handle more internet traffic than most Fortune 500 companies, cost Hollywood an estimated $30 billion, and prove that once something hits the network, it can never truly be killed. His name was Gottfried Svartholm. Online, he went by Anakata, and he built the most resilient piracy machine in history. Stockholm in the early 2000s had become a breeding ground for digital rebellion. While Silicon Valley chased profit margins, Swedish hackers were asking different questions. Why should geography determine access to culture? Why should corporations control who gets to watch what? Gottfried wasn't interested in getting rich. He wanted to build infrastructure that nobody could shut down. That obsession started with a simple observation. Napster had just been destroyed by lawsuits. Kazaa was getting hammered. Every centralized file-sharing platform eventually died because authorities could target the servers, arrest the operators, and flip a switch. Game over. But what if you designed a system with no center to attack? Gottfried joined forces with Fredrik Nye and Peter Sunder, two fellow hackers who shared his vision. They weren't starting from scratch. A Swedish anti-copyright collective called Pirate Byron had been experimenting with BitTorrent technology, a protocol that scattered files across thousands of computers simultaneously. Instead of downloading a movie from one server that could be seized, you'd download tiny pieces from hundreds of users worldwide. The collective needed someone to build a tracker, basically a directory that helped all those scattered pieces find each other. Gottfried volunteered his bedroom server. The project launched quietly in 2003 with a deliberately provocative name, the Pirate Bay. From day one, their philosophy was radical transparency mixed with absolute defiance. They kept zero logs of user activity. They hosted in Sweden specifically because Swedish law at the time didn't make linking to content illegal, only hosting it. And they responded to every legal threat with mockery. That last part became their signature move. When DreamWorks sent a cease and desist letter in February 2004 demanding removal of Shrek 2 torrents, Gottfried's response became internet legend. He pointed out that Sweden wasn't subject to American law, suggested the lawyers were idiots, and recommended they perform an anatomically creative act with retractable batons. Then he signed off politely as usual and posted the entire exchange on the homepage. Traffic tripled overnight. Every legal threat became free advertising. By 2005, the Pirate Bay was handling traffic that would make venture capitalists salivate. 25 million daily users, millions of torrents for everything from Linux distributions to the latest Hollywood releases. The site's interface stayed deliberately simple: a search bar, a pirate ship logo, and an ocean of content. But underneath that simplicity, Gottfried was architecting something approaching digital immortality. He wrote custom tracking software called Hypercube that could coordinate file sharing across millions of machines simultaneously. He designed database systems that could be backed up, encrypted, and deployed anywhere with electricity and bandwidth. He was building a fortress with no walls. The entertainment industry watched this growth with mounting rage. Their strategy of suing individual downloaders wasn't working. Napster's death hadn't stopped piracy. It had just scattered it across dozens of services. But the Pirate Bay was different. It was centralized enough to become a symbol, yet decentralized enough in its actual operation that traditional legal tactics seemed useless. The Motion Picture Association of America began working Swedish diplomatic channels. Pressure mounted on Swedish authorities who'd previously taken a hands-off approach to internet regulation. Hollywood wanted blood. By early 2006, the Swedish government faced a choice: ignore American pressure and risk trade complications, or crack down on 3 hackers who'd become folk heroes to millions of internet users worldwide. They chose the raid. 53 armed officers, 10 locations hit simultaneously, every server seized, every cable unplugged, both founders arrested. Swedish prosecutors held victory press conferences by noon. The world's most notorious piracy site, used by millions daily, was finally dead, except it wasn't. 72 hours later, the Pirate Bay blinked back online from servers in Amsterdam. Its homepage now featured the pirate ship firing cannonballs at a hillside sign reading Hollywood. The message was clear: you can't kill what has no center. The raid had actually made them stronger. Traffic didn't just return, it exploded. The publicity had introduced millions of new users to a site they'd never heard of. Donations poured in. Mirror sites sprang up across Europe and Asia. Gottfried's architecture had passed its first real test. The establishment had thrown everything at them and failed. But that failure would lead to something more dangerous than raids. A trial designed to make examples of pirates, followed by charges that would transform Gottfried from rebel hero into something far more complicated. February 16, 2009, Stockholm District Court. The trial everyone's been waiting for finally begins. Gottfried sits at the defense table. invisible, pale and smirking. Fredrik crosses his arms. Peter Sunder tweets in real time, while Carl Lundström, the older businessman who bankrolled early infrastructure, looks distinctly uncomfortable. They call it the spectacle. Four men who turned internet piracy into theater are now facing the Swedish legal system's attempt to make examples of them. The prosecution frames them as criminal masterminds who facilitated millions of copyright violations and pocketed millions in ad revenue. The defense argues the Pirate Bay was perfectly legal under Swedish law, an index, not a host. They never stored copyrighted files, only torrent links pointing elsewhere. It's a technical distinction that will make or break the case. Protesters in pirate hats rally outside. Every seat inside fills with journalists from 30 countries. The trial swings between technical minutiae and philosophical warfare. A prosecutor attempts to explain BitTorrent technology and mangles the details so badly that Gottfried interrupts from the defense table to correct him, drawing laughter from the gallery and a stern glare from the judge. Entertainment industry lawyers present charts claiming billions in damages. They paint pictures of devastated studios and starving artists. The defense counters with user letters describing how the Pirate Bay gave them access to culture they couldn't otherwise afford. Documentaries, textbooks, rare films unavailable through legal channels, academic papers locked behind paywalls. The courtroom becomes a philosophical battleground about information access itself. April 17th, 2009. Judgment Day arrives, standing room only. The judge reads the verdict with measured gravity, guilty on all counts of assisting copyright infringement. Each defendant receives 1 year in prison. Collectively, they owe 30 million Swedish krona, roughly $3.6 million. The judge's tone makes clear this is intended to send a message to anyone watching. Within minutes, the Pirate Bay's homepage updates. The pirate ship logo now wears a taped mouth. A Mickey Mouse silhouette looms in the background. Silent protest against what they call Disney-backed censorship. Peter Sunder tells reporters the sentence is like bicycle locking, meaningless punishment for a victimless crime. Gottfried is notably absent when the verdict is read. That absence is foreshadowing. Appeals begin immediately. Under Swedish law, convictions aren't final until appeals exhaust. Nobody goes to prison yet. The site continues operating as if nothing happened. Traffic doesn't drop. Donations surge. The trial has only amplified their notoriety. November 2010 brings the appeals court ruling. Mixed results. Prison terms get slightly reduced for some defendants, but damages skyrocket to 46 million krona, over $7 million. It's an impossible sum for four guys in their 20s. You can't squeeze blood from a stone, Sunde writes on his blog, pledging that not a single krona will be voluntarily paid. Sweden's Supreme Court refuses to hear further appeals in 2011. The sentences are now final and enforceable. When authorities arrive to collect the defendants, one is missing. Gottfried has vanished. Officially, he missed his appeal hearing due to illness. Unofficially, Swedish media reports he's fled to Cambodia. Fredrik relocates to Laos with his wife. Peter Sunder eventually turns himself in after a farewell tour, speaking at hacker conferences. Carl Lundström serves his brief term under house arrest, but Gottfried, the architect, the coder who built the machine, he's gone completely dark. Interpol red notices go out. Swedish diplomats contact Southeast Asian governments. How do you arrest a ghost who lives on encrypted communication and moves through countries without extradition treaties? Months pass. Occasional sightings surface. A Swedish expat claims they saw Gottfried at a Phnom Penh internet cafe hunched over a ThinkPad. WikiLeaks later acknowledges Svartholm helped build infrastructure for their 2010 cable leaks. He's living exactly like the ideology he coded. Stateless, mobile, impossible to pin down. The Pirate Bay, meanwhile, refuses to die with its founders. In 2012, the site makes a radical evolution. It abandons torrent files entirely, switching to magnet links. A torrent file is a physical target, something police can seize or block. A magnet link is just a text string, a hash. You can't confiscate mathematics. The site's blog announces the change makes Pirate Bay leaner and nearly impossible to target. They release a compressed backup of the entire site database, just a few gigabytes. Any user can download it and spin up a clone in minutes. The site has become a distributed organism, designed to survive even if every original server burns. By late 2011, traffic to Pirate Bay remains steady at record highs. The convictions didn't slow it, neither did the raids. Gottfried's creation has outgrown him. It doesn't need its founders to survive anymore. But Gottfried's personal story is about to take a much darker turn. The Swedish government isn't finished with him, neither are the Danes. New charges are coming that go far beyond copyright infringement. These involve government databases, stolen identities, and allegations that will reframe Gottfried Svartholm from rebel to threat. August 30th, 2012, Phnom Penh, Cambodia. A joint task force, Swedish officials and Cambodian police, moves on a waterfront apartment in the capital. The door splinters. Inside, they find a bearded 27-year-old hunched over a laptop surrounded by empty energy drink cans and takeout containers. Gottfried Svartholm is arrested without resistance. Within 72 hours, he's on a flight back to Stockholm, deported at Sweden's urgent request. The pirate who eluded a copyright conviction for 16 months is now in custody to serve his one-year Pirate Bay sentence. But Swedish prosecutors have bigger plans. They suspect his time off grid wasn't just hiding. They believe he was hacking. New charges hit before he even finishes processing into prison. Unauthorized access to Swedish government databases and attempted bank fraud. Investigators allege that between 2010 and 2012, while Gottfried was supposedly a fugitive laying low, someone using his computers breached servers at Logica, an IT contractor managing Sweden's tax authority systems. The intrusion accessed national tax IDs for thousands of Swedes and attempted to issue fraudulent driver's licenses. Even more audacious, evidence suggests an attempt to penetrate Nordea bank systems and initiate unauthorized transfers. The narrative shifts. Gottfried isn't just a copyright rebel anymore. He's being framed as a black hat hacker threatening state infrastructure. Gottfried denies everything. His defense is technical and specific. His laptop was compromised by unknown parties who used it as a proxy. "I was a puppet," he tells his lawyer, presenting forensic evidence that malware was found on his machine. Someone remote controlled his computer to conduct attacks while he was in Cambodia. It's plausible. Security researchers confirm his system was infected, but prosecutors argue he's sophisticated enough to have staged that infection himself. The trial in 2013 is technical, dense, and divided. The Swedish court delivers a split verdict: guilty of hacking into Logica systems and accessing confidential government data. Insufficient evidence on the Nordea bank charges. That count gets dismissed. The sentence is 2 years in prison, later reduced to 1 year on appeal. Importantly, the judgment acknowledges his computer was compromised by external actors at certain points, but the court rules he still bears responsibility for the government data breach. As he begins serving time in a Swedish prison, another country is preparing their own case. Denmark has been investigating a devastating hack of their own. In 2012, someone breached CSC, a major IT contractor managing Danish police databases and social security systems. The intrusion stole personal identification numbers for millions of Danish citizens and accessed sensitive law enforcement records. It's one of the worst cybersecurity breaches in Scandinavian history. Danish investigators traced chat logs and digital fingerprints to a familiar alias, Anakata. In late 2013, as Gottfried finishes his Swedish sentence, Denmark requests extradition. He's immediately transferred to Copenhagen and placed in solitary confinement. The Danish trial in October 2014 is intense and unforgiving. Prosecutors present evidence of a 6-month intrusion into CSC's mainframes. His defense doubles down on the evil twin theory. The real person behind those IRC chat handles wasn't Gottfried at all. His co-defendant, a 21-year-old Danish hacker, testifies he met the true Anakata, and it wasn't Svartholm. It's a bold strategy, claiming someone else used Gottfried's alias and equipment to commit the crimes. The jury doesn't buy it. The forensic evidence is overwhelming. Stolen CSC data on his drives, access patterns matching his known equipment, chat logs using his distinctive phrasing. On October 27, 2014, the guilty verdict arrives. The sentence is crushing. 3.5 years in prison, the harshest hacking sentence in Danish history at that point. His co-defendant, portrayed as a minor accomplice, receives a lenient sentence and walks free with time served. Gottfried, hearing the verdict, shows no emotion. 3 years of running, 2 trials, and multiple convictions have drained the fight from his face. September 2015. Gottfried walks out of a Danish prison, thin and hardened. Denmark attempts to deport him immediately, but Swedish police rearrest him on the prison steps for a final 1-month sentence. Bureaucratic leftovers from the hacking convictions. By December 2015, all debts are paid. He's finally free. His mother meets him at the gates, telling reporters he just wants to sit by a keyboard again after 3 years away from one. Gottfried has lived the complete hacker narrative: creation, glory, exile, conviction, imprisonment, release. And the Pirate Bay, still online, still serving torrents from servers hosted in locations authorities can't easily reach, maintained by anonymous admins and true believers. The site has outlived multiple raids, dozens of domain seizures, and the imprisonment of all 3 founders. You can't kill what has no center. It's not as dominant as it once was. Streaming services and fragmented file sharing have changed the landscape. But type the URL and you'll find it, or one of countless proxies, still sailing. The Pirate Bay proved a brutal lesson that terrifies every government and corporation. You can't kill what has no center. 3 Swedish hackers built something unkillable not through sophisticated technology, but by understanding a fundamental truth about the internet. Once information spreads across enough nodes, it becomes immortal. Gottfried Svartholm paid for that lesson with years of his life, but his creation survives him.